My name is Scott Kelly, and today we're in South Pasadena, California, working on a high-performance home. And at the moment, we're going to focus in on the whole house ventilation system. Whole house ventilation is a strategy to provide fresh filtered air into the home 24/7 and remove stale air out of the home 24/7. There's three ways that you can ventilate a house to our code here in California. You can have exhaust only. That would mean you'd have exhaust fans in the bathrooms and maybe the laundry room. Or you could have a supply only, which means you have a fan rated for continuous use and it's just dumping air into the house and we have no idea where that air goes. Or third, you could do a balanced ventilation system. And balanced ventilation means that you're targeted. You're moving the same amount of exhaust air out of the house as you're moving fresh air into the house for replacement. So first what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the machine itself, the ERV. This ERV is made by Broan. It is one of many brands that makes ERVs and HRVs. An ERV or an HRV basically is an appliance. It's a fresh air machine appliance. And what the appliance has inside of it are two fans. And these two fans are pulling air from the outside to the inside, and the other one is pulling exhaust air from the inside to the outside. But what happens is the air on the inside is warm, and the air on the outside could be very cold, like say 40 degrees outside and 70 degrees inside. So what happens with an ERV or an HRV, the difference between the two of them is that the HRV has a larger core and it collects a little bit more heat than the ERV, but they both are really doing the same thing on their core. So what happens in the core is the warm air as it's exhausted out of the house catches on the core, and the cool air that comes from the outside crosses another pathway of that core and warms that air all the way from 40, it left at 70, came in at 40, brings it all the way up to 67. So you're losing only 3 degrees in that air change. And that's why they call it an energy recovery ventilator, because you're recovering that energy before it goes out of the house. If you didn't, then you'd just be bringing in this cold air all the time, and then that would be an energy penalty because the heater would have to kick on, and now we're spending energy on the heater, which is not what we want to do. So the ERV is pretty simple. It's got a core, it's got two fans. If you look at the blue and the red, you can see the stream crosses, and we just explained how the stream is crossing because there's a core that it's crossing over in order for it to get its heat back. So Broan makes ERVs, Fantech makes ERVs, Panasonic, Renew Air, Life Breath, Zender. It goes on and on how many different brands of ERVs that you can buy and install with our kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to remove the ERV from here, and we're just going to talk about the kits because that's really what it is that we provide, is the distribution for the fresh air and the stale air. So I just wanted to show you that what these two tubes here, right here, this just represents to the outside. So what that means is that this has to go outside so that it could bring in fresh air from the outside. This one is bringing all the stale air from the bathrooms, the laundry room, and the kitchen, and it's bringing that air in, crossing over, and now it needs to go out of the house. So what's really nice about these machines is that it's always exhausting stale air, but with the fresh air, it's always diluting the air at the same time. So when we have VOCs, we're able to really move that out of the house quickly. And the goal with a high-performance home is generally changing the air in the home every 3.5 hours. So you have a machine that is doing that, and you're targeting the distribution from where you're pulling your air and supplying your air. So next, we're going to talk about the manifolds. The manifolds are the most important part of balanced ventilation. This is the manifold. The manifold is made of 1-inch duct board, and as you can see, it has a craft face silver outer, but the inside is a fiberglass box, which is a silencer as well as a manifold. And so we have the connections, obviously, to standard duct size to ERVs, And here we have our port tubes. The manifold is color-coded. It's color-coded, it's graphic-coded with graphics on it. And it's number-coded. The numbers are then on a chart called the port chart, and the port chart tells us which rooms these tubes go to. So for instance, when we install, we would have 2 tubes. We would put our numbers on the tube, put it into the correct port, and a number on the other end that would then correspond with a number that's on the diffuser in the whichever room it is in. So the port chart will list each room and what number tube goes to it. The tube numbers would then correspond with the manifold. And you know which manifold is supply, and you know which manifold is exhaust because of the graphics, the colors, and the numbers. So this is something to really simplify the install. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to dig into the pieces and the parts and how we connect this system. This right here is called a ferrule. The ferrule is 3 inches, the tube is 3 inches, and the ferrule screws right in like a corkscrew into the tubing, and you do it real tight, like that. That is airtight. That doesn't need mastic, that doesn't need tape, and it's ready to plug right in, snap clip. So imagine this tube right here is, obviously it's the red box, right? That's the stale air. And so this tube is going to either go to bathrooms, laundry room, or kitchen. So for right now, we'll say we're going to the bathroom. The bathroom needs 2 tubes. So the 2 tubes are going to be installed into the manifold, and they are going to go to the bathroom, all the way to the bathroom, wherever that is. It could be 35 feet from where this manifold is set. We typically like to set the manifold in the center of the home so that the distribution is equal. And then what happens here at the end of this, all the way in the bathroom, is you put in another ferrule on that long tube. This is just the short one for this display here. And now we're going to decide, do we want a round diffuser up in the ceiling? Do we want a wall mount diffuser up high on the wall like these are? Do we have a need for simple pass-through through wall? This could be high or low. So these are 3 different diffusers or boots. And all of them snap click. I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to add the elbow. I'm adding the elbow because sometimes it just adds a better articulation of the duct without having to kind of bend it or do, modify it, manipulate it. And that is snap clicked. And there are brackets that this uses, and these brackets are just like can light brackets. So they install like this and this, and then this guy goes up in the ceiling just like what we call recessed light. And what you would do is you would line these up within the recessed lights, because you want this just to be in alignment with anything else that's in the line of the ceiling. Could be fire sprinklers, could be a fire alarm, could be the lights themselves. So, same thing goes for this guy. Same thing goes for this guy. So we have the hardware, the diffusers, the ferrules, the couplers, the finished grill. The finished grill allows air to flow out of the diffuser. And the diffuser is going to be above the drywall up in the ceiling, and the grill goes on last. And inside the diffuser, we can adjust for airflow. We have 5 different settings that we could put that on. So if one of these tubes is real close to the manifold, it's going to have more air because there's going to be less static pressure. But if it's further down the line to the, say, off on one of the bedrooms in the back, there's going to be a lot of length in here. There's going to be some static pressure. We're going to make sure this is wide open, and then we're going to measure it. We have a tool that we measure it with. It's called a flow hood. That we do at the very, very end. So that basically gives you an idea of what the kit entails. It has 2 different grill options. That one, the round one, this fits on this one as well. And that's what makes up the kit. So you get the numbers to do your numbering. There's a port chart that comes that you fill out. There's all the tubing to make it to each and every room that you need to. And so the kit contains the manifolds, the tubes, all of the pieces and parts for the connections, port chart, numbers, grills, and that makes up our kit.